Okay. So Kelly, we're doing, make sure I've got this right, medical terminology.
Yes.
That's what you want us to do?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just go through, I'm doing this because I'm training for my Cert 4 in training and assessment, so you're helping me out. And am I helping you out, I think, as well, so that you can, after our little interview, that medical terminology is something that might help you get a job? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see how we go. So you've got some water there. If you need to go to the toilet or have a break, just let me know. And you know where the toilet is. And emergency exit, straight out through there. So we'll just move on. So the learning outcomes for this session is, so afterwards, you'll be surprised actually how much you'll already know and what we use in day-to-day life. So that makes life a little bit easier. But you'll be able to use a number of medical terminology terms, written and verbal communication. And sometimes the verbal bit, even though I have been an RN and a midwife, sometimes I get tongue-twisted myself. So that's not an issue. You'll be able to identify and properly use a number of abbreviations for medical terms and associated processes. So we'll go through it all. I have given you a long list. I'm not expecting you to know, and you won't know it all, but take it away if you have a little dictionary for you to go over and perhaps use in the future. Okay, so the modules today will be root words, prefixes and suffixes, and abbreviations. Okay. So there are what we just talked about, three basic parts to medical terms. The root word, so that's the crux of it, so the middle of the word, and it's the main meaning. And then the prefix and suffix alters that word. So the prefix becomes at the beginning of the word and usually identifies the part of the main meaning, and the suffix comes at the end and actually sort of changes, as you'll see, the central meaning of the word, but it'll make more sense as we work our way through. Okay, so we'll get to know how to actually break down some medical terminology. So the root word. So we'll do an example. So therm is heat. So that's something you would already know. And hypo means less. And of course you can say hyper with an ER would mean more.
Okay.
So meter is to measure. So as you can see here, so hypothermia, so hypo means less, and thermia is heat.
Oh, I see, yep.
So low heat, so it's a low body temperature. And then thermometer is a device for measuring heat.
Yeah, so
because
therm as in heat and meter as in measure.
As in measure.
No worries.
Yep. And deconstructing it, so how do we get to those sort of, to make meaning? So when you see something like myocarditis, you go, that's a foreign language, surely.
Yeah.
So what it is you break it up. So this is the three, so myocarditis. So it means inflammation of the heart muscles. And I'm sort of going ahead, and then we'll go back and I'll actually teach you a lot of different root words and prefixes and suffixes. And then as you go through, you'll end up it'll make sense and it'll come together. So in this one, the prefix is myo, which actually means muscle. So the root word is card or cardio. It's shortened for the word. Is heart. And itis, now I'm sure you already realise that, it's inflammation of. So that happens in things that you've gone to the doctor for, or taken the kids for. They've had an itis of some sort at some stage. Now, so I'm just finding where I am over here on the left-hand side. Okay, so myocarditis, so muscle layer of the heart is inflamed. So then if we go down here to pericarditis, peri means surrounding or around.
Oh, okay.
So that's the outer layer of the heart is inflamed, or the layer surrounding the heart is inflamed. So endocarditis, endo is meaning inner
yep.
inside.
Mhm.
So the inner layer of the heart is inflamed. So that's how they sort of change things a little bit. So the suffix, and this is what we're saying, that the meaning changes. So you've still got the cardio,
Yep.
and this is ologist. So the ologist part is the medical practitioner that is specialising in something, and in this case, cardiologist is specialising in the heart.
Mhm.
So cardiology, the ology part is the study of, study of the heart. Cardiovascular is heart and blood vessels. Okay. So we'll start. So if you refer to your sheet as well, you can.
Oh yes. Okay.
So you can. So you sort of it'll bring back a little bit of. When you lead, you sort of go. That's right. That's what Julie was referring to. So prefix a or an in front of a word means without. And we'll go through some actual words. Micro is small, macro is large, megaly is enlarged.
Okay.
So itis is inflammation of, osis is abnormal condition of, ectomy to cut out or remove. So can you think of a word for ectomy that would be to cut out or to remove, the removal of?
First thing that comes to mind is mastectomy.
I was thinking tonsillectomy or appendectomy, but yes. Mastectomy, yep. So megaly is the enlargement of. So you probably can think of one. Enlargement of something. What was the root word we were just talking a lot about before? Cardio, megaly, enlargement of the heart.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, haven't you?
No.
Okay, ostomy, to make a mouth. So you might be able to place that. I don't know if you know of anyone that's had a colostomy.
Oh yeah. Okay, right.
So that's talking about the colon. So to make a mouth, that means they've had to make an opening to come out, and that people wear bags and stuff. So that's the ostomy, to make a mouth, an opening.
Okay, yeah.
Scopy or scopic is to look or to observe, like endoscopy, to look inside. Yep. Where am I? Graphy or graph is to record an image. Gram is the image itself that you hold in your hand. Ology, the study of. Ologist is specialist in. Plasty is repair or restoration. Okay, so these are the root words. These were the main, what we were talking about before, that you can put the prefix and the suffix into. So hemo is blood. And these are examples over here. So hematology. So, phleb means veins. So phlebitis is
inflammation of the
veins. Dermo is skin. Dermatitis. That's what I get sometimes. Osteo, bones. Osteoporosis, we all know that one. Encephalo is the brain. Encephalitis, that's a bit scary when little babies get that. Stomato is mouth. Stomatitis.
Okay.
Dento, that's pretty obvious teeth. Dentist. This is one of my favourites. Glosso is tongue. It just stands out. It always stood out to me. I'm going, that's a weird one. So that's glossitis. And gingivitis. So gingivitis, we've probably had a bit. I'm just going to check the camera, make sure it's still rolling.
No worries.
Because it does turn itself off every now and again, even if it's fully charged. I know I've had issues. Glenn had to keep a look at that, doing another session. So gastro, entero, so gastroenteritis. So that would be the inflammation of the stomach and the intestine. So it's, it's not just gastritis, it's just the stomach. and that's one where you really cook, where you do both the vomiting and the runny poos.
No.
Colo, the large intestine, that's the colostomy. That's what I was talking about before. Procto, like anus and rectum. So proctoscope is looking in. So if someone has, say, bleeding from the bowel or something, a doctor might have to use a proctoscope and have a look and see if there's anything going on. Cysto, bladder. Cystoscopy is the same sort of thing, looking in. Hepato is the liver. Hepatitis, you sort of know that name. Nephro is kidney. Nephrosis is a condition of the kidney. Cardio, heart. Orchid, it's not a pretty flower. It's the testes. No, it's not. And it's good to become familiar with these.
Interesting
it's
the words
good.
they've come up with.
Yeah, and it's good. I was thinking about the words I'll tell you, but it's actually good to know them. So then it's not, when you go somewhere, it's not kind of embarrassing. When you're talking about it and stuff, it becomes more part of your vocabulary, and that's the whole point of learning the medical terminology. And oophorio, so oophorectomy is removal of the ovaries. Hystero, or hysto, is hysterectomy. And masto, mammo, is the breast, so like mastectomy, as you were saying, and mammogram. Rhino is the nose. So we probably all know people have nose jobs, all the celebrities, they have rhinoplasties. So the other thing, besides the actual bits and pieces, is placement. So we did go over a couple of these. So endo is within, like endocarditis, within the heart. Peri is around. Retro. So these are really sort of obvious and make sense. Retro, behind. Sub, below. Circum, around. So like circumnavigating or circumcision around the penis, or circumnavigate, I was going to say, around the globe. Epi is upon. Trans is through. So transparent, you can see through something. So that's a good way to remember it. And intra is within. So how do you feel about those? Did you have any questions?
No.
Okay. So let's go through some. So I've put the root word is heme, is blood, and there's word, you've actually got this in your, you can actually write them down. No, keep going. There you go.
Right.
So hematologist. So
it's not study of, is it? Or
no, you can look it up. You can look it up because this is very quick. This is just sort of getting you thinking. So what's the brain?
Specialising. All right. So the study of ology. Right. Just gotta. So hang on, what did we say? This one was specialist. Okay.
So pneumo is lung. So pneumonitis.
Inflammation of. Hang on, mine's different to yours.
Sorry, there's only that one is different. I added it because of pneumonia does mean, and this is like an exception to the rule. This is something I did late last night. I went through it, and I did want to, and I apologise I didn't update your sheet, because this is inflammation of, and this is a word, inflammation of the lung tissue, right? So that's when you have a generalised inflammation. It's pneumonitis. Now pneumonia, which we all know about people getting pneumonia, and they can get quite sick, and it's difficult to breathe. That is actually also inflammation of the lung, but it's specific to the alveoli. The end of the all of the airways, where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide happens between the blood circulation system and your respiratory system happens in the alveoli, and that is inflammation of the alveoli is pneumonia, and that's when you get a lot of fluid on the lungs. But this one is more of the tissue, so it's the meaty part of the lung. Yeah. So that's why I did that. So there are exceptions to the rules. Not everything that is inflammation of actually will have itis, and that's typical of. So that's why I did that.
No worries.
Okay, so phleb is vein. So you have a phlebotomist. It's a fancy way of saying someone that takes blood.
There you go.
So phlebitis.
Inflammation of the vein.
And that happens a lot when, say, if you're having IV therapy in the hospital or something, and the cannula's in the vein for a decent amount of time, then sometimes they say, it's packing it in. Nurses might say, it's and what it is, you get phlebitis, so they have to take it out and re-site it if you still need it. So because it's a foreign body, and so that's inflammation of the veins. So dermo is skin, dermatology. Study of a person that studies skin and skin conditions. So a doctor that has done dermatology, what would he be? He would be a
ologist.
Cool. Stomach, so gastritis.
Inflammation of the stomach.
Gastroenteritis.
Of the stomach and the intestines.
So it's like both ends.
Right.
And cardiologist.
Heart doctor.
Osteoporosis.
So just bone
abnormality.
Condition.
Cystitis.
Inflammation of the bladder.
Proctoscope.
Looking into